Thank you, Mrs. Sipukazi. Firstly, welcome everybody, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today for what is an important announcement. I think firstly, on behalf of Cricket South Africa, we would like to congratulate both Temba Bavuma and Dean Elgar on their appointments to the leadership positions of the South African men's cricket team. I think these full-time appointments have been a long time coming. There certainly has been a lot of deliberation, a lot of sort of conversations that have been, had behind the scenes, trying to learn about where the team is currently, where the leadership of the team is currently, and who are the best people to take South African cricket forward from a leadership perspective. I think you're following a number of behind-the-scenes deliberations with myself, the selection panel, the coaching staff. I think we're very confident that we've come to the right decision to appoint Temba in the ODI and T20 space and Dean into the Test leadership. And I just want to wish them everything of the best. This appointment will be 2 years for both of them, hopefully longer, as they will, we all hope that they'll go from strength to strength and be successful in their roles. So we want to back them, we want to support them, and we want to empower them to take South African cricket forward with our support and hopefully into a stronger space, a better cricketing space than what we have been over the last period. And we certainly wish them everything of the best.
Thank you very much, Graeme. We'll move to questions. I see there hasn't been any that have been put up on the chat panel as yet. Everyone, please reminder to use the chat panel as your request space. We'll go as soon as somebody does. Firdaus, you may go first. Oh, sorry, Zahir and then Firdaus, apologies.
Hi, Graeme. Obviously, congratulations on the appointments. Just regarding Dean's appointment, even he said it a while back, it would be the common sense thing for South Africa to do to appoint him. Why has it taken this long?
I think there were a number of things that we wanted to see. I think Victor, we took a decision to not mess with the space, to hopefully see who would stand up. We certainly haven't hid from the fact that we've been trying to find leaders and to see who performs over the summer. I think it has been a stressful period. Lots of different challenges for cricket to deal with bubbles and all the challenges that have come with cricket in a COVID climate. I think everyone in the decision-making position wanted to be confident and reach that place where we had real clarity on who the right people to move forward with. And I think over time it certainly has become clearer and clearer that Dean is the right man and that it's common sense. But yeah, I think we've reached the right decision, and moving forward with a new cycle of Test championships. We certainly feel it's the right time to back him going forward in the test arena.
Thanks, Graeme.
Firdaus, followed by Stuart and Leighton.
Hi, Graeme. Apart from being straightforwardness, what are some of the other qualities that you've decided are worthy of him becoming Test captain? And then the same thing for Temba. And if I can also just ask if you've checked up on Quinton de Kock and seen how he's doing.
I've also played with Dean, known him a long time, and I think he epitomizes the character that we would like to see from our lineup. I think there's no lying or hiding from the fact that we need to improve as a cricket team. Our results need to improve, our standard of play needs to improve, and I think Dean certainly leaves everything on the field. I think tactically, we will be there to support him and grow him. He's got great experience in the role as well, and I think just by the way that he goes about his cricket, he leads by example, and certainly has the experience now. And I think for Dean as well, I feel like the time is right. I feel like he's ready and he wants the job as well, which is an important part of captaining. If you're a reluctant captain, it does make it very, very hard. The job does come with a lot of scrutiny. And I feel that Dean himself is also ready and wants to take on the role. So I think that's important. And I think Temba, we've always known about his leadership qualities. We really, wanted to, following, when we got into the role, we wanted to provide a space of support and get behind Temba and get him playing well again. And I think he's shown that consistency. Over time, as I said, it's been a challenging period. I think we've certainly noticed his leadership credentials behind the scenes, the way he's been operating within the squad, the experience that he brings, his captaincy, tactical nature at the Lions. The feedback that we've received from within the squad, from the management and the coaches, has been really positive around Temba, which, and again, we deliberated a long and hard conversation with myself, the coaching staff and the selectors. And it was very clear to us that these two men were the right men to take South African cricket forward. I mean, from a cricket perspective, we dug deep, and both of these men came out with flying colours. And as I say, I want to wish them all the best. It's not going to be an easy role. They've got a number of challenges ahead of them, but we believe that they've got the cricket brain, the right character, and the right leadership credentials to shift South African cricket into a positive space. On Quinton, we've obviously, since he's got back from Pakistan, we've had a number of engagements with him. He was not a part of the CSA T20 for mental reasons. We put a plan in place with him. We've engaged with him on a number of occasions, and it was felt that the burden of leadership was just too much for a person or a player like Quinton. We wanted to free him up. His commitment to South African cricket is there. We want to get the best out of him as a player and as a team man. He will certainly form part of our leadership group within the environment, but I think we felt that this was the right way to move for South African cricket and back it on a consistent way forward.
Stuart, followed by Leighton, Pila, and Telford.
Hi, Graeme. On Quinny, was he satisfied to give up the captaincy? And to sort of attach to that, why the decision to have two captains for the different formats?
I'll allow Victor to speak also. He formed part of the conversations, but I think there's always a little bit of emotion around these things, Stu. I think Quinton understands that there's a burden that comes with leadership. It hasn't been an easy time for him either. So I know he's a proud guy. I'm sure there's a little bit of emotion and feelings around this. But I think for myself and the selection panel, the coaches, we truly believe that this is the right way forward. And we have engaged with Quinton on this, and the burden of leadership has been mentioned on a number of occasions. So I think it required us to make a tough and important decision for South African cricket, also to finally back some leaders to go forward. I think was crucial, and through these deliberations, we feel like we've chosen the two best men to do that. Your other question, Stu, was formats. Yeah. I think the main reason is that we feel that it's a very difficult job to captain all three formats. The stress is on one man to do that, the workloads, the job in itself. I think originally we just felt that it was too much to give to one person. And yeah, so I think we felt that to have a captain in the white ball format, and we felt that Dean was the best man to lead the test format at this stage, with the support of Temba as vice captain, to try and create some continuity in that leadership group.
Thank you.
After Stuart, Leighton, followed by Telford. Pila has bowed out of his question. If anybody else would like to ask, please indicate. We'll wrap up questions for Graeme before we move on to Victor.
Hi, Graeme. Just in terms of the 2 to 3 year appointments of the guys, obviously pitfalls come with a decision like that, whether it's injuries that can keep them out for a long time, whether a slump in form or things like that. What have been the discussions around that, and who else besides Quinny will be included in that leadership group, as I think both squads are, all three of the squads are fairly young ones?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the journey that I think we're on. We've got to grow the leadership within South African cricket. We've got to develop, players. And that'll be, with Mark and Enoch and the two captains, that'll be their job to drive things forward and to create that opportunity. I think anytime you appoint a leader, you have to back them. You have to give them an opportunity to go and do the job well. We certainly hope that it doesn't affect their form, and sometimes you never know. We hope that it brings the best out of both Dean and Temba. And we've got to support them through the highs and lows. I was a captain myself for a long time, and you are scrutinized and you do have your ups and downs, but certainly we'll be behind them and support them through that. What we hope is that it goes well, but we also understand that there's going to be challenges. Look, we haven't appointed a vice captain in the one-day format yet. We're still looking and debating, and we'll work with Temba on who we feel is the right person to do that. But in the test side, Temba will be Dean's vice captain.
Telford, and then the last question for Graeme will be Hloni.
How's it, Graeme? Like you've just said, you've done this job in these formats, all of them. But the whole world seems to have changed since you were a captain. Obviously, it has, but still, it's relevant. Your experience. What's going to be your first bit of advice to these two new guys walking into this job?
Telford, but I think the most important thing right now, as I mentioned to them earlier, is they don't have to come up with. I think that they've both got enough experience. They've been around the squad a lot and will understand, maybe from a leadership perspective, the way they want to move forward. But figuring out your own strengths and weaknesses and areas you can grow is important. You do need to have a really good ability to deal with the stresses and the pressures that come with the job. I guess the most important thing is to perform well. As a captain, you are certainly scrutinized. You will be in front of the media a lot more. You'll have to answer a lot more questions, but still find time to focus on your own game, because that's important. And I think hopefully that my experience behind the scenes, my phone is always on, and we can have that open channel and help each other and support each other, because our main objective here is to get a strong South African cricket team again, to be up pushing for trophies, winning series, and I think that's myself, Temba, the coaching staff, Dean, and that's our objective. So if I can add value and help and save them a couple of pitfalls that I had in my time with captaining South Africa, then I certainly will.
Thank you.
And finally, Hloni.
Actually, I was going to ask about Graeme as a captain, but just to add to that, is there extra pressure on a captain as an opener, or not so much?
I think that from my own experience, the challenge is probably shifting from captaincy brain into opening the batting brain. Sometimes you only have 10 minutes in between fielding and leading your team on the field, and then you have to switch on and become an opener. And I certainly had to find my triggers that help me mentally shift and not carry some of the captaincy things into your batting, so that you had a clear mind and you were able to perform. So that's maybe one thing that you need to learn and adapt with. But Dean and Temba will have their own ways of dealing with stresses and pressures and their own routines and things. But it is something that will be different for Dean, and opening the batting was something that I had to come to terms with as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. We're done with questions for the Director of Cricket. We're going to move on to Victor Mpitsang now. Victor, if you could please open your video so that we can see your face. We're going to start with Telford and Fidos with questions.
It's me first, actually.
I beg your pardon, Fidos, and then Telford, I beg your pardon.
Hi, Fidos.
Victor, I'm actually just wondering about the Pakistan series that's coming up now, and the IPL, and whether you've made decisions as to how you're going to manage that with players needing to potentially go or stay, and then also how important that series is, given that there's quite a break between that and the T20 World Cup.
Look, that series is very important, especially the one-day series, because it's still we still need to get points. It's still a qualifying period for us for the 50 over World Cup. The T20 ones, I know there's an agreement there, and Graeme, if you maybe could help us add us a little bit more. So a few of those players might have to leave a little bit earlier. So, but we'll still have some players playing in their T20 side.
Telford, followed
Hello,
by
Victor.
Hi, Telford.
Hi. Graeme used the word relieved, that Quinton de Kock has been relieved of the captaincy. Is it fair to say he's been fired?
Sorry, Telford, I didn't get that.
Graeme used the word relieved when he was talking about Quinton de Kock's. Has been relieved of the captaincy. Is it fair to say that Quinton has been fired as the captain?
He hasn't been fired. So I think the first part probably is the starting point of the Test captaincy. The agreement with Quinton was that when I got into the job, we needed a Test captain, and with the conversation that we had with him, it was just an interim job which was going to end after the Australian series, which never happened. Obviously, there has been, with all these bubbles and a lot of issues, Quinton came back and didn't play in the T20 series for obvious reasons, but he's gone away, and he probably feels that he needs to focus on his game, and I wouldn't want to see that as a burden, because I actually thought at the time we made that decision, I thought he actually did a hell of a good job with leading a group of young men against Australia, so I think it comes to an agreement to say that he doesn't need the captaincy anymore.
Thank you.
Hila.
Thanks, Buckles. Hi, Vic. Good to see you.
Hi there.
I just wanted to find out, and I think it poses a really exciting selection dynamic with the selection of, or the appointment of Temba Bavuma as ODI and T20 captain, particularly for the T20 side. We've seen over the last little period how wide the pool of players have been, and how as a selection team or a selection committee, you guys have tried to widen that pool as big as possible. Does that mean now that some players will have to work harder to earn selections into that side, particularly when you look at the T20 World Cups that are coming almost back to back, particularly at the top of the order? Does that add an exciting sort of selection conundrum for you guys?
Yeah, I always think that when you have headaches and players are performing, I think 2 weeks ago we had the T20 challenge. I think it was wonderful. I think we could see the impact that your Proteas players make when they play local cricket, and I think the standard was good. I know that there was times that the scores were on the low side, but we saw what the quality of the cricket was. I think it is important to have headaches, especially selection headaches when people are performing. I think we did say at the beginning of the tournament that the tournament was important because it's been a while since we've had a T20 competition in South Africa. I think the last time we had one was the Mzansi League. So it was time to guys to express themselves and showcase their skills. It is an important period for us, again, going forward. I know we're playing Pakistan, and with a future tour program leading up into that World Cup and what conditions we'll be facing. I think I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure the players are looking forward to it. And once players start performing, I'm sure, and we've seen already that those players that have performed domestically will get their opportunities.
Victor, hi, Leighton here.
Hi, Leighton.
Just in terms of leading up to that T20 World Cup, I think I've asked you this before the guys went over. But how far away are you guys with regards to selecting that group that will be going, and what did the recent T20 challenge show you of what there is outside of the group?
Look, I think obviously there's a kind of brand that the Proteas want to play, and I think regarding that type of brand, the identification of those players that have done well. I think we sort of spoke about those players. I don't think we far off, but I still think there's quite a few tours. I think about 3 or 4 tours before we played that World Cup, and I would like us to narrow it down closer to the time. After this Pakistan tour, we will then have the West Indies away, where we'll be playing T20 cricket, and I would want to believe, and I'm sure Mark and the rest of the selection group would want to start narrowing down by making sure that we at least give the group of players heading into that World Cup enough game time to also understand the kind of brand and to become a unit, going into that World Cup.
Thank you, Vic. Up next is Kanyuso. If we could get the last question for Victor, and then we'll move on to the players. Not our captains, apologies.
Thank you, Spogazi. Good evening, Vic. You would have watched a lot of Temba's captaincy in being a commentator for SuperSport. What is it that you learned from his captaincy that actually helped inform your decision?
I just think, Kanya, the brand that obviously that Mark and his team always talk about, and I'm sure Temba understand the brand that we want to play as a team. How dynamic he is, how he always thinks on his feet, and he's led well. The other thing that also helps is the fact that what he's done on top of the order. I know he's won this trophy now with the Lions, but about 2 years ago in the same competition, he did exactly the same thing. And it just shows in the last competition that how his leadership has grown. Hence, we've went with that decision that we made.
Thank you.
And finally, Craig Ray. May I please ask, ladies and gentlemen, that you indicate on the chat panel for the first questions. We'll start with Temba.
Victor, hi. Thanks, Craig Ray. How are you?
Hi, Craig.
Dean, this seems to sort of further entrench the idea that Dean's not going to play white ball cricket. And I know from conversations with Dean, he's quite keen to play white ball cricket. Does this captaincy entrench that notion that he's not a white ball cricket player in some ways?
Well, no, not at all. I think, Dean, I know Dean would want to play all formats. He does play all formats for the Titans. But at the time being, he has not been part of. He's not been part of the one-day setup. He's more a settled Test player. He's the most experienced player that we have, and I know Graeme has spoken a lot about Dean. But I'm sure going forward, I'm sure Dean will probably be looking about himself to wanting to play white ball cricket. I mean, to be honest, I don't think he's out of it in white ball cricket. But for now, he's more an established player. He's our most senior player. And the brand that we want to play, I'm sure Dean will lead the team quite well.
Thanks.
We've wrapped up with Victor Mpitsang. Thank you very much for that, Vic. We're going to move on to Temba, starting with Zahir, followed by Etienne. Zahir?
Is Temba there? Hi, Temba. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Hopefully this is not a question that we ask you we ask somebody in 20 years' time, but we remember that emotional press conference you had at the Wanderers about 2 years ago, where you spoke about just wanting to be a cricketer. But when you're the first Black African to be named as the captain, surely that must mean something to, maybe if not to you, but to many, many people around the country and people who've watched you grow up and helped you get where you are. That must mean a lot to them, that you going out there and tossing the coin and being the first person.
Sorry, Zahir.
Can I answer the question?
We lost you a little bit there at the end.
I said it must mean something to all those people who've helped you get on your path to where you are. it must mean a lot to them, if not to you, to be the first Black African to captain the.
Yeah, I think Zahir, I'd be lying if I said that it didn't mean anything to me. I think I understand the deeply rooted significance of it all. In being the first Black African country, I don't think I'm the first Black African captain to lead our country. I guess you don't have to look too far away. Looking at our history, looking at our political situation within the country, and I can completely understand why people in our country would celebrate it for what it is. So I mean, I'd be lying if I said it didn't mean to me. I'd be lying if I said that it does not make me think of where everything started for me and how I've been able to go through that journey and get to this point where I am. I think, I still stick to my sentiments in the sense that from a pure ambition point of view, as much as I am the first Black African captain, from a playing point of view, I think I still have strong ambitions that I'd like to achieve. And combined with being known as the first Black African captain, I'd also like to be known as someone who led the team very well and created a legacy for himself.
Thanks, Temba. Just to follow up to that, Temba, on the cricket side of things, how pleasing is it that the transformation that you've gone over the last couple of years, where initially viewed as a test match player, only being pigeonholed to play red ball cricket, and your numbers over the last 2 years, whether it's domestic cricket, whether it's international cricket in white ball, has just been amazing. Is that how much pleasure do you take out of that, and how much work went into possibly changing your game to be adaptive in those?
You can go ahead, Temba.
Okay. Yeah. Look, it has been a revelation for people to see a different side of my game. I guess from my point of view, I've always known that the game has always been there, and I guess it's been frustrating not being able to put out those performances for people to see and admire. A lot of work has gone in, more from a mental point of view, to try and get myself to that point. And I'm quite pleased with the results thus far that I've been able to kind of churn out. Obviously, the plan is to keep with that consistency, and hopefully I can get better day in, day out.
Up next is Etienne. Everyone, if I could just please ask that you hold all follow-up questions until the latter part of the press conference. We do have quite a lot of questions to get through. And we also still have to get to Dean Elgar as well. Thank you very much.
Cool, Temba. Hi, it's Etienne here. First of all, congratulations on the appointment. As Graeme mentioned as well, there's a lot of pressure coming with the territory of international captain. Now, in your case, it's going to be in the limited over format, the added pressure of leading the team to possible World Cup silverware. If my maths aren't letting me down, it's 3 World Cup tournaments in less than 30 months. Your thoughts on the looming pressures of captaincy at international level and the job at hand, while also then playing a vital role at the top of the order?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is quite a scary, daunting prospect. All the things that you just named. But I think there's a lot of excitement to it all. Whether I'm ready or not, I guess, time will tell. But I think what I can say is that I'm super willing and committed to the whole process, to the whole journey. Yeah, I'd like to lead the guys to something special. I'm willing to learn and grow in the position. And essentially, I'll just be trying to add value within the team and not just to take value. But yeah, it is a scary, daunting journey, but exciting one as well.
Nathan, followed by Lungane, Pila, Fidos, and then Telford.
Temba, firstly, congratulations to you, Temba and Dean. Temba, usebenzile. JP Dumini mentioned that your numbers in white ball cricket have been good and consistent as of late. How important will consistency be for you, having to manage the bat and captaining on a personal note? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess the tricky thing with cricket is that cricket is obviously it's a team sport, but it's also made up of individuals, and it's important that as an individual you're able to kind of stand on your own 2 feet through your own performances. So I think the fact that I've been given the title of captaincy does not take anything away from the responsibility that I have as a batsman, and that's one of the most important things that I'll be looking to do to make sure that responsibility doesn't slack. And yeah, like consistency obviously will help a long way in terms of the role of the captaincy, and that's something that I'll be looking to do. Fortunately, I do have experience having done it at domestic level, so I do understand the pressure that comes with being a captain. Yeah.
Lungane.
Mkhokheli, sisazokubetha kwakhona ebaleni legalofu, but benifuna ukuva uba uziqhenya njani ukuba ngumkhokheli wokuqala wesintu wokuphatha iqela eliya kwiqakamba lomhlaba, and utheni utata xa umxelela uba uzoba ngumkhokheli?
Ndiyabulela Lungani. Andiqondi kakuhle le yegalofu Mozambique, but ke sizayiyeka kuba kukho abantu apha. Ndiziva kakhulu, ndiyazingca ngale nkxaso, ngale responsibility ndinikiweyo Cricket South Africa, and into endiyijongileyo, and I will try taking in my full stride. Utata bendimxelele utata, ebengekho endlini ngoba ndifikile, but bendimxelele. But yeah, I look forward to le ndlela ndizayihamba.
Thank you, Lungani. Up next is Pila, followed by Fidos, and we're going to finish with the final Xhosa question with Kanyiso.
Sparkles, thank you. Bye. If I'm not mistaken, Temba, I think you spoke after scoring 100 in that T20 final 2 years ago against the Warriors. And you expressed, and that was after the squad announcement for the 2019 World Cup, and you expressed a bit of disappointment with not getting the amount of chances that you would have liked to show yourself that you are also an all-rounded cricketer. Looking back at that and looking at this moment now, did you ever think that you would captain an ODI side and a T20 side going into the future for South Africa?
No, I never thought that was something that was realistic. It was never something that was in my sights, to be completely honest with you. But I mean, the ambition itself to play white ball cricket was always there. And I think at that point in time, I could see the growth in my game. It was evident in my performances, and I guess it was only a matter of time before those opportunities came about my way. But yeah, I would have never thought that 2-3 years down the line, I'd be sitting in the position that I am in now.
Top it up next.
How's it, Temba? Congratulations. You've just shown us what a good captain you are in the franchise T20 competition, and you seem to really enjoy yourself. Is that true? And what makes you enjoy captaining? I mean, it helps that you're piloting a team to triumph, but what makes you enjoy captaincy if you do?
Thank you, Talbot. Yeah, I've enjoyed the responsibility of being captain, of leading the side. I've done it now for several years, obviously more particularly with the Lions. And I guess just the nature of kind of just serving people, that balancing act between your own ambition as a player as well as the interest of the team is something that I've kind of likened to. And I think just winning, I think that's also the other thing. Everything that I do, from a team's perspective, it's always geared towards what is best for the team. Decisions that I make is always geared towards that. Unfortunately, in my time as captain, I've been able to get the results that have been favorable for the team. So yeah, being a captain is something that I enjoy. It comes with these pressures, like anything, I guess, in sport or in the world. And this is another responsibility that I'll be looking to champion.
Thank you.
The final question, Pila. Apologies, Kanyiso in isiXhosa.
Bye, masivuyisane nawe ke ngoba ke ufumene isikhundla ke kuyanetha ke phandle ecaba nyani usikelelekile kodwa nami ke ndifuna umenywa ke xa ndiphinde ndidlala igalufu. Khawutsho Bhayi, yintoni ozoyithatha kubukhokheli bakho neengonyama ozakwazi ukufaka kulo msebenzi wakho ke neqala lesizwe?
Ndiyabulela bhuti Khanyiso. Ukuba ndiyajonga indlela esiqhube ngayo kwi-Lions, into ibingamandla kwi-Lions ukubana yonke into esiyenzayo siyenzela iqela lethu. Ibalulekile uba umntu angabi, andisazi igama lesiXhosa, but umntu angabi selfish, ayenzele yonke into enyanzelekileyo ubana i-team iphumelele iye ngaphambili. Ndiyathemba uba as ixesha lihamba, ndizinike nami ithuba ndicinge nzulu uba zintoni izinto esazenza zazirayithi phana kwi-Lions. Zezo zinto ke ndizothi ndizithathe ndizisa apha kwi-Proteas. But kwangoku bhuti Khanyiso ndisazama uyiginya yonke le nto. Ndiyaqonda uba izothatha iintsukwana, but ixesha lalo lizofika kuba kuzofikela ke nam ndisebenzise ingqondo, ndicinge kwanzulu nge-vision nange-strategy se-Proteas.
Sorry, everyone. Final question to Fido. So sorry, I forgot you. And then please indicate on the chat panel for questions for Dean.
Thanks, Sipakazi. Hi, Temba. Congratulations. Temba, can you tell us a little bit about how you found out, or whether you were asked, and how you felt, and who you told, and just, I guess, how you're feeling?
Thanks for those. Yeah, I was told a couple of days ago. I was basically told and offered the position as captain. For me, okay, it did come to me as a surprise, but it was a no-brainer. I don't think a lot of people would turn down this type of honor and privilege. And how I feel now, I guess, it's been a couple of days now. I feel a bit calmer. I feel a bit at peace with the decision. Obviously, there's anxiety as to not knowing really what to expect and how to counter what to expect. But I think a lot of comfort comes in the fact that I know my players, the people who've entrusted me with the position in Graeme, in Victor, in Mark, in Enoch. For me, I draw a lot of confidence from that because those are people of stature. And again, I take it as something that's just part of my journey. And I can only look forward to what's to come, really.
Thank you very much, Temba, for joining us. We're going to open up questions now for Dean Elgar. We're going to start with Leighton, followed by Shafiq.
Hi there, Dean. Congratulations on your appointment. Just in terms of leading a very, very young squad, one that that's not settled at all. Off the back of a couple of test losses. Can you just go through your thoughts firstly when you were appointed, and then just leading the team?
Firstly, thank you. Yeah, look, it's not an ideal situation that we've had over the last maybe season or two. But to answer your first part, I think going forward, at least we know that I've got the job for 2 years, and obviously we can build on that. I think the Proteas brand and Protea players and potential players deserve that opportunity to have guys. To have someone to come in and give them a bit more clarity, give them a bit more reassurance and a little bit more stability going forward. So yeah, that's ultimately going to be one of my agenda box ticking moments as a leader, is obviously to try and just get a bit of stability into the test squad and try and just establish a bit more of an easier process for guys coming in.
Shafiq, followed by Telford and Fidos.
Congratulations, Dean. Leaders like Du Plessis, Amla, De Villiers, and those guys have all left in the last few years. Will you be missing those guys next to you in the slips, especially? Or do you look forward to leading the KPs and the Van Tonders, the young guys going forward as a captain?
Look, obviously losing the name players that you mentioned early on, I mean, those guys can't be replaced, but cricket has to move on. The sport hasn't stopped for anyone leaving the game. We owe it to the sport for it to still carry on moving forward. We've got a lot of young, exciting players that have been knocking on the doors in domestic cricket now, and I think they've actually been breaking down doors to try and get a foot in the squad. So yeah, it's exciting times to have that. It's good to have fresh blood around. Yeah, sure, we maybe aren't at the experienced at an experienced level as what we would have been a couple of years ago, but saying that, it's a good stepping stone for us at the moment. We do still have a few experienced players at the moment in the squad. Obviously, I'm gonna rely on them a lot to help me through this journey. I know it's going to be an almighty challenge and a very exciting challenge, but I think we need to, obviously, like I mentioned in the previous question, we need to clarify the stability for guys going forward, so the guys know where they stand and be able to characters to stand up and obviously and take their claim.
Lungani, followed by Telford. I mean, Fidos and then Telford.
Gravy, it seems a long time ago since that one-off at Lords when you were very happy to hand it back to Faf. What have you learned in all that time since then, and what are you most looking forward to, or what can we look forward to from your leadership style?
I learned it's definitely a tough position as a player, to be obviously a player and then a captain of a team. It's definitely a massive responsibility. But saying that was quite a few years ago. I think I've played quite a few games since then and learned a lot more about what Test cricket is and how a team operates behind the scenes. I've been fortunate enough to be part of the leadership group for a couple of seasons now. So I've learned from guys like Cash, De Villiers, Faf, deer in headlight kind of moments. But yeah, I'd like to think I've established the experience since then, and hopefully I'll be able to have guys like Tim to still help in that environment and that capacity.
Fidos, followed by Telford.
Hi, Dean. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dean, considering your name had been doing the rounds and like Zaire reminded us about you, maybe saying it would have been the obvious choice. What was your reaction when you were asked or told, and how do you feel about kind of the next 2 years?
For those, I'm very, very much looking forward to the next 2 years. as mentioned, it's going to be a serious challenge, but it's a challenge I'm really looking forward to. I feel if we get a few things in place, we can definitely take the Proteas brand back to where we were a few years ago. Ideally, that would be my biggest goal, is to get us back to where we were a few years ago. But I know it's going to be hard work. It's not just going to be a walk in the park. So I'm extremely fortunate to be given this opportunity to try and get us back on the right track. But yeah, I think I've got a lot of good heads around me as well. I've mentioned about our management. Myself and Temba are obviously going to work closely together to try and stabilize the Proteas brand again. And yeah, hopefully we can obviously replicate it on the field as well.
Telford, and if anyone would like to put down their last two questions, I see Craig and then Leighton. Thank you.
How's it doing? And congratulations. It's a good thing you're a patient man. This press conference is almost 50 minutes old now.
Yeah, feels like I'm opening the bat in there. So,
obviously, you know that it's a much bigger job than simply what happens on the field. But you know, in for instance, your media engagement, your press conferences, you've kind of, it looks like you having fun talking to the press, and maybe it's an illusion, but you know, you seem to be up for the other stuff, you know, that happens as a captain. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, then it's obviously a job achieved, because I don't want the media against me. I want them on my side. So, but now having the captaincy, I'm still going to be the same guy. I'm still going to have pretty straightforward, open and honest conversations with my teammates, with my management, with the media. I'm very much aware of the external responsibilities that comes with this job. And yeah, I've been around long enough now to be able to just take it in your stride and try not get overwhelmed, because there is some time before we have our next series, and I'm sure a lot of good work can be done in that period. So yeah, very, very familiar with the external responsibilities that come with the nature of this job. I understand we as a brand, we've been under the pump for some time now, and we need to try and get it back to where I think the standard can be, and I'm pretty sure our coaching staff and management feel that it can be at. So yeah, Telford, it's going to be a really, really exciting time for us. It's going to be tough chats, and something that you have to be willing to do. Otherwise, I don't think you should be put in this position. So again, I'm very fortunate for Cricket South Africa putting me in this position. It's obviously a lot of hard work that's gone in the past that I've done, and behind the scenes, it's something that's been noticed. And yeah, hopefully I can make a big impact in this group.
Thank you.
Thank you, Telford. Up next is Craig, followed by Leighton.
Hi, Dean, and congratulations on the appointment.
Thanks,
I'm sure you haven't just been thinking about the team in the last 2 days or 48 hours since you've been made captain. I'm sure you've got a lot of deep thoughts on how to get better. It's difficult, though, when you're not playing a lot of Test cricket to actually do that. But can you share what some of those areas are that you think, in your mind, I mean, we can all speculate about batting or bowling or fielding or whatever, but what in your mind is the first priority to improving the Test team?
I think firstly, the one big thing that I mustn't make a mistake of is rushing into areas where I think we need work, but maybe you just have to take a step back, and it only needs one or two little fine tweaks. So as I mentioned, there is a lot of time before we have our next series. There is a winter coming up where I'm pretty sure we'll have good conversations within our group. So I'm not going to rush into anything now and give a headline saying Elgar thinks the batting is poor, for instance, as an example. So I'm definitely not going to sit here and put myself in that position at the moment. I do think there are areas for us to work on. I'm not going to clarify anything now because we have time. So yeah, if you can respect that position that I'm in at the moment now, I'm pretty sure in the next few media conferences we're going to have, I'm sure they'll be addressed. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Leighton says that he's happy with this last question. Would anybody like to take the last question before we wrap up? Going once, going twice. All right, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this extra long press conference today with so many questions and people covered. I will release the link to this press conference directly after, if you could give me about 5 minutes or so. In the meantime, have a wonderful evening, and we'll chat to you guys again soon. Keep well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, happy with the win, obviously. I think with the ball, we did well to keep taking wickets throughout. Probably towards the end there, our disciplines wasn't too great, and we let them get probably 10 or 15 too much, but we knew chasing 160, the wicket was a bit better than it looked yesterday, so 160, if we get 1 or 2 partnerships, yeah, we'd be in a good position. We lost 2 early wickets, which wasn't ideal, so we had to rebuild from there, but as soon as we got that first partnership, we were in a good position. Yeah, I think about, like it played today, maybe 160, 170, so they were a bit short maybe. But yeah, in saying that, I feel like it's still a wicket that if you bowl well and you execute your plans, you can obviously still be effective, like Bjorn showed today, and like KG showed today. It's just about managing that short boundary and changing your plans so keep guys away from hitting towards that, which obviously puts the bowlers under pressure. Yeah, it's a special feeling to be part of a team with as many stars, but I think the thing that we spoke about is not leaving it up to the next big name. You know, if it's your day, take it through, and that's why I'm a bit disappointed today that I went out and didn't take it through. But you know, there's so many match winners in that team, so plan is, yeah, if 1 or 2 of those can come off, like today, myself and KG, you know, tomorrow it'll probably be someone else, and that's a luxury of having so many stars in your team. Yeah, I think as a batter on these slower wickets, as soon as you give yourself a chance, you're giving yourself the best chance to succeed, not necessarily go too hard too early, which the Warriors probably did. And as soon as you get the pace of the wicket, give yourself 15, 20 balls, you can start targeting guys. And
this game obviously really disappointing, especially going from the previous game where we had such a good start. This game we had such a bad start, so it's difficult to put our finger on it. It's not one thing that's killing us all the time here. It's different phases of the game that we're playing badly. But like I say, hopefully the next game we can click, you know, all the way through, have a good start, good middle overs, and then finish off at the back end. I think it's probably a lack of turn that's doing the guys, and they're kicking the ball to their pads. Yeah, no, it's Keshav is obviously a really good bowler, and you know, he's a very clever guy, especially in the power play. He knows our batters probably wants to come after him, so he's got 2 balls to try and, you know, maybe get a wicket, and then the batsman will be set and got those 2 wickets right up front. So yeah, it's went his way today. Obviously our guys need to reflect a little bit tonight and see what we can do for the next game. I thought, having looked at the first game this morning, the wicket was a lot better than the first day. So I thought, you know, played the MSL here, there were scores of 185, 190s on here. So in my mind I had 160, 165 will be par, and a good wicket, short boundary on the one side as well. So I would have taken 165, 145. I knew probably we're still a little bit short. It just takes one of them to play a good innings, and then they get the score. So yeah, couple of chances, couple of run-outs, couple of drop catches, and Alan takes our fielding very seriously. He's really passionate about our fielding, so we work really hard on the fielding. So that obviously is a aspect that we can look at that cost us a little bit. And if we want to win these games where we've got subtotals, you need to take your chances. Yeah. Where to from? Yeah. Well, we've got a day off tomorrow, so probably will do us some good to just reflect for a whole day, maybe reset and see how we have a good chat. How do we want to play different phases, and how do we want to go about it?